Welcome, everyone. Today, we're diving into the fascinating and mysterious world of the blood moon. Across cultures and centuries, this celestial event has been seen as both a breathtaking phenomenon and a powerful omen. But what does it truly mean? And why do some believe it brings sickness or even death, especially for the elderly? Stay with us as we explore the myths, legends, and scientific truths behind the blood moon. A blood moon, a term used to describe a total lunar eclipse where the moon takes on a reddish hue, has been a subject of awe and fear across various cultures throughout history. The phenomenon occurs when the Earth comes between the Sun and the Moon, casting a shadow that filters and refracts sunlight, giving the moon its distinctive crimson appearance. While the scientific explanation for a blood moon is well understood, its significance and interpretation vary widely from culture to culture. In some cultures, it is viewed as an omen, particularly ominous for older individuals, believed to be more vulnerable to supernatural forces. These beliefs, rooted in ancient traditions and superstitions, reflect the deep connection many societies have with celestial events and their potential influence on human life, health, and fate. Throughout human history, celestial events such as lunar eclipses, comets, and solar eclipses have been seen as powerful signs, often believed to have direct implications for the fate of individuals, societies, or even entire civilizations. In many ancient cultures, the skies were thought to be realms inhabited by gods, spirits, and other supernatural entities. As a result, any unusual occurrence in the heavens was considered a direct message from the divine or a harbinger of significant change. The blood moon, with its eerie red glow, often found itself at the center of such interpretations. In pre-scientific times, people lacked the understanding of natural phenomena that we have today. The sudden appearance of a darkened or reddened moon would naturally evoke fear and awe. For some, it was seen as an omen of impending disaster, disease, or death, especially for those who were already seen as vulnerable, such as the elderly, children, or the sick. In ancient Mesopotamia, the blood moon was often associated with the wrath of gods. The Babylonians, who were keen astronomers, believed that lunar eclipses were a sign that the moon goddess, Sin, was angry. The eclipse was thought to be a divine punishment for wrongdoings, and people feared that it could bring misfortune or illness. For older individuals, who were believed to be closer to the spiritual world and thus more susceptible to supernatural forces, the sight of a blood moon was particularly alarming. Elders might have been seen as more likely to succumb to illness or death after such an event, as their life force was thought to be more fragile. In ancient China, the blood moon was often interpreted as a signal of impending danger or illness. The belief that the moon was being eaten by a celestial creature, often depicted as a dragon, was widespread. In some cases, this belief was linked to the idea that the eclipse could cause the death of the ruler or other important figures in society. As such, older individuals, particularly those who were more vulnerable in society, were thought to be at greater risk during a blood moon. The fear of death or illness was heightened by the belief that the cosmic event disrupted the natural order and could lead to chaos and suffering. In the indigenous cultures of the Americas, lunar eclipses were similarly viewed with apprehension. The Aztecs, for instance, believed that the moon was under attack by a jaguar during an eclipse. In these traditions, the eclipse was seen as a moment of danger and upheaval, and it was not uncommon for sacrifices to be made to appease the gods. Older individuals, who were often seen as closer to the spiritual realm and more susceptible to the forces of nature, were considered to be at particular risk during such events. In more recent history, superstitions surrounding the blood moon have persisted in many cultures, albeit with variations in the specific beliefs. For some, the sight of the red moon is still considered a bad omen, signaling disease, war, or death. In many cultures, it is believed that witnessing the event can bring misfortune, particularly to those who are already frail or nearing the end of their lives. This belief is rooted in the idea that older individuals, being closer to death, are more vulnerable to the negative influences associated with celestial phenomena. The idea that the blood moon could hasten death is particularly prominent in cultures where aging is seen as a period of spiritual fragility. In many traditions, the elderly are believed to be more connected to the spiritual world, which makes them more susceptible to the supernatural forces at play during a blood moon. As such, these individuals may be seen as more likely to succumb to illness or pass away during or shortly after the event. The fear of illness following a blood moon is also a common theme. In some cultures, it is believed that the event disrupts the natural balance of the cosmos and causes illness to spread. This can manifest as a fear of widespread disease or the personal affliction of the elderly. Some individuals may believe that the event acts as a harbinger of epidemics or pandemics, with the blood moon signaling the start of a period of sickness and death. These beliefs are not limited to ancient or indigenous cultures. Even in more modern times, superstitions about lunar eclipses continue to influence people's perceptions of health and fate. Older individuals, in particular, have often been viewed as more vulnerable to the effects of supernatural forces, including those associated with the blood moon. The idea that age brings a certain spiritual sensitivity is rooted in many cultural traditions. In societies where elders are respected for their wisdom and experience, there is also a belief that their closer connection to the spiritual realm makes them more susceptible to cosmic events. As a result, older people may be seen as more likely to experience misfortune or even death during such an event. In some cultures, the elderly are believed to possess a special sensitivity to omens and signs from the heavens. This sensitivity may make them more attuned to the warnings of the blood moon, but it also makes them more vulnerable to its perceived negative effects. In this sense, the blood moon is not just a celestial event, but a test of one's spiritual resilience. For older individuals, the event could be seen as a reminder of their mortality and a sign that their time on earth is drawing to a close. Moreover, the idea that witnessing a blood moon could bring sickness or hasten death is closely tied to the belief that age and health are inextricably linked to cosmic forces. In many traditional societies, illness and death were not simply seen as biological processes, but as events that were influenced by the spiritual world. The blood moon, as a powerful celestial event, was often seen as a harbinger of these forces, making it particularly significant for those who were already vulnerable. Despite our modern understanding of lunar eclipses and their scientific explanations, the superstitions surrounding the blood moon continue to hold sway in many cultures. While some view the event purely as a fascinating astronomical occurrence, others still see it as a warning, especially for the elderly or frail. In the age of modern medicine and science, these beliefs may seem outdated or irrational, but they persist in certain communities, often reinforced by cultural traditions and a deep-rooted fear of the unknown. For older individuals who have lived through many cycles of life and death, the blood moon may serve as a reminder of their own mortality. In societies where respect for the elderly is paramount, the idea that the blood moon could bring about illness or death can take on a particularly poignant meaning. It reflects the tension between the physical reality of aging and the spiritual, supernatural forces that are believed to influence human fate. The blood moon, with its eerie red glow and celestial significance, has long been viewed as an omen of misfortune, particularly for older individuals. In many cultures, the elderly are seen as more vulnerable to the negative effects of supernatural events, and the blood moon is thought to bring sickness, death, or other misfortunes to those who witness it. While these beliefs are rooted in ancient traditions and superstitions, they continue to shape how some people perceive the event even in the modern world. The blood moon remains a powerful symbol of the fragility of life and the mysterious forces that govern human existence, particularly for those who are seen as most vulnerable to its influence. And that brings us to the end of our journey through the myths and mysteries of the blood moon. Whether you see it as an omen, a sign, or just a stunning natural event, one thing is certain: it continues to captivate and intrigue us all. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating explorations of history, culture, and the cosmos. Until next time, keep looking up at the stars.